5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bosh. Good evening. Hello. I made it home then. Yes. Oh, we've got people giving out some subs to people. Oh, lovely. Well, I've got a cup of tea. I'm ready to go. I hope you're all ready to go. Hi, Luna. Welcome back to the house. Well, they've been back for quite a while, but there we go. Almost fought a moped. Nice. There's stuff going on that I'm unaware of. Marvellous. Right. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. Welcome to episode 20. I got the wrong one up. Welcome to episode 20 of Fizzy Brain. I had a clever name thought up, but I forgot what it was. So pretend I said something witty. Oh, actually turn the light on. I did have a light, so I'll sod the light. Anyway, so I'm Aubrey, as I said. This is Fizzy Brain. A stream, podcast, vlog, vanity project thing, talking about creativity from the point of view of a weird, fizzy-brained bard, wizard, fey, monarch creature. That is me. Telling you lovely people who keep me on the road what I do on the road, sharing the lengths I do to do, well, the things I do to keep myself occupied, I think is a better way. Yes, yeah, so sharing the lengths I go to keep myself occupied. In fact, I'm going to write that on future scripts now. The lengths I go to keep my brain occupied. Yay! So, before we go any further, let's talk about the gigs and such, because I am a musician, and any help I can get to keep the musician stuff going by you guys coming to shows is greatly appreciated. So there's tickets for various bits and pieces on ticketsource.co.uk, Awkward Strawberry. Speaking of Awkward Strawberry, our next one on the 5th of June features Harrison Rimmer and Nasty Fishmonger. And then straight after that, I'm off to Here for the Music with Nasty Fishmonger. They give me a lift, which will be lovely, so I'm going to be there. And I will be doing 2 shows. One will be one of my musical spectaculars with the banjo and screaming at you lovely people. And the other will be me doing an hour's comedy based on the idea of how you fill an hour of comedy using improvised weirdness. And that's literally what I'm going to be talking about. So if you want to see that, get some tickets for Here for the Music, because I think there's a few still available. And also on the 6th of June, the Woodland Goth Kickstarter fully closes. More about that later on. The 29th of June, we have the Grassroots GRASIN Festival with the Sweetchunks band. One of the final, I think we're in the last 4 with that one, the last 4 shows. So yes, all kinds of interesting wonderfulness. And after that, the next Awkward Strawberry is the 3rd of July, and that one's featuring B-Sydes, Warren Island, and Thomas Benjamin Wild, which is smashing. So tickets for those are, of course, available. So yes, that's all the kinds of stuff that's been going on, which is it's just smashing. I hope all you guys in the chat are having a good time. If for those of you who are listening to the audio version or watching this on repeat on YouTube, don't forget to do the subscribe thing. The chat is talking about someone having a fight with a moped on their way home, and everyone's reacting to it in a way that they all clearly know what's going on. So it's nice to see that my chat are getting to know each other more, or coming together in some kind of post-show piss-up somewhere and fighting mopeds, which is one of the reasons I do this thing, to basically bring people together to fight mopeds, because mopeds are, of course, a blight on humanity. So this show is split into 2 parts. Part 1, what I'm meant to be working on, and Part 2, what I'm actually working on. So Part 1 this week is actually going to be quite sort of quiet by comparison to normal weeks, because I've not actually been doing much. But I've been doing significant things but not very many. That seems to be a thing at the moment. I'm doing a lot of important stuff, which I'm really excited about, really wanting to share with you guys, which don't take very long to talk about. And there's also like lots of little things that you've heard before. So I'm going to wet my whistle, and then I think it's time to continue with the project whilst I'm working, because this is a thing that I'm doing as well. For those of you who are new to the stream or have been to Fizzy Brain before but not been to one of my crafting streams, or have no idea, or let's pretend that you have no idea who I am and no idea why there is a bike wheel on my desk. So the reason there is a bike wheel on my desk is I've decided to embrace the fact my brain is all over the place. So I seem to function better when I'm doing multiple things. So I have a load of jobs that need doing, from sewing patches onto Make Britain Great Again hats. I'll explain about that later. Fiddling with my brand new sewing kit, which I'm still very happy with. Or speaking to Dexter, my emotional support dumpster fire, who has become quite popular, actually, I've been finding from people. So I'll leave him in the corner there for us to see. Or this, which is repairing one of my favourite old bikes, which is a Brompton folding bike, where I basically knackered the rim so much that it is basically, there is a, I hope you guys can see this because I've changed the way that the camera works, so you got a bit more high def. There is a fucking big hole in it, which is really interesting. So it's basically falling apart because I was not paying attention to how much my brake pads were slowly destroying this rim. So last week I took all of the spokes off, and then took this part, the axle from the front wheel, and I've taken the spokes and the axle off the back wheel, which is why I now have a strange device that is broken but looks fucking cool. So I need to find a reason to do something with this. I don't know, it looks like a MacGuffin from a spy novel or something. It looks like a uranium rod from the 1960s, i.e. it looks nothing like a uranium rod, but that's what people thought they looked like. And so I've taken the rim from that, which is this, and put the spokes from that onto here, and so I could test a little bit of it, I've started to basically start threading the spokes onto the rim. So whilst I'm chatting, I'm going to carry on with this, which is smashing. There we go. So bigly looking forward to having a new frisbee. It is it's exciting. I know that we're talking about the Kickstarter, but also the rim of my bike would also make a good frisbee if you're planning to severely injure people. So there we go. Right, let's get ourselves ready. And I'm going to switch over to the other view so you can see a bit more of that going on. And there we go. So we've now got a tiny view of my head and a large view of the table. So it's sort of like stuff here. So as you can see, I've already put some of the spokes on. I'm just working my way around it and fixing them in with these little fellows. One of those things, again, I'm going to say to you right now, if you're expecting some kind of breakdown of what the parts are called, how they work in a proficient kind of way, this is not the stream for you. If you want to see someone swearing at mechanical things whilst blundering their way through it while talking bollocks, this is the stream for you. And most of our people, especially most of the chat, that's why they're here. They want to see me sort of swear a lot. And okay, there we go. And our moderator has arrived. Hello, Danny. Right, so let's get this in here. Get in there, you slag. Right, not you, Danny. I meant the spoke. Now, let me get my script up so I can see what I'm doing. Right, so part one. What am I meant to be working on? Well, currently, I was actually under strict orders to actually enjoy myself. Because one of the things that's happened... So at the weekend, I was at Bearded Theory with the lovely riding instructor, her indoors, my beloved wife, Lily, long-suffering wife of 13 years this year, actually, which will be exciting in June, which is coming up. And we've decided, just before I start talking about Bearded Theory, we've decided, because we were given a very nice present of tickets to Harry Potter World in London. Now, obviously, she who shall not be named can go fuck herself, especially as she seems to actively be trying to make people's lives worse by throwing her vast fortune into fucking with trans people. So it's not a case of like Wagner, who is a bit of a cunt and wrote like mediocre music and is dead, so it's all right to listen to his stuff. It's sort of become to the point where now I'm not saying that, I'm not, forcing anyone else to think the way that I think. I would, everyone has their reasons for different things, so I don't judge anyone else by them reading or enjoying Harry Potter, because I know, books like that mean a lot to a lot of people. Oh shit, it's the fuzz. Now, I think they heard me talking ill against J.K. Rowling, but I do love the films. I do like the books. I especially like the audiobooks read by Stephen Fry. But she can go fuck herself. So what I've done is I've stolen all the audiobooks by downloading them from the library. So I can listen to my heart's content. She can get fuck all for them. But to be honest, there's still a bit of a bitter taste in my mouth whenever I listen to it now, which is a shame. But I still haven't watched the movies for a long time, even though, to quote J.K. Rowling, she can redo the Harry Potter with, is it HBO or whoever the fuck is making the series, with actors, to quote the woman, that won't disappoint her. I mean, that's not mental in the slightest, is it? So the fact that Daniel Radcliffe pisses her off means that I actually quite like watching him dressed as a wizard pissing off J.K. Rowling at every turn. So, there is that. But we got given tickets as a marvellous little sort of Christmassy present for Harry Potter World in London. Now, I love the movies. I also love the fact that they've used the sets and they've turned it into a museum, which is absolutely fabulous. More movies should do this. And also, someone gave us a loving present because how are they supposed to know that the creator of such material was a diabolical, horrible slag beast? Not there's a problem with slags. Slags are lovely, but I couldn't think of a better word at the time. Anyway, so this horrible woman has basically decided that it's sort of like, well, what do I do? Do I boycott it? Do I not? And then so what Lily came up with, which is a great idea, is that we're going to go around Harry Potter World being as gay as physically possible and trying to hide as much pro-trans propaganda around the museum as we possibly can. Now, that won't change the world, but that's the sort of thing that irritates narcissistic arse-hats. And as we know that J.K. Rowling is probably a narcissistic arse-hat in the same way that Hitler was a narcissistic arse-hat. That's a shit comparison. I do apologise. I'm better than that. She's just a fucking twat. And fucking twats are very easily offended. So the idea of putting loads of little, like, trans flags and various things and stickers around, I know there's going to be security and they're going to be prepared for that, but that makes it fun. Because if I get kicked out of Harry Potter World, that's also quite a fun thing to tell people about. Especially as it's Lily and mine's anniversary, like I said, it would actually be quite good fun to sort of, for the pair of us to get kicked out of J.K. Rowling's turfy funland for expressing ourselves as, me being a trans psychopath that is a threat to women, according to J.K. Rowling. So, yes, that's our anniversary coming up, and that's not what I'm meant to be working on, but the reason I mentioned it is that Lily and I have been trying to sort of actually relax a bit more recently. Because when we went to Scotland recently for a little holiday, hollylibobs, in February, which was beautiful, but I wasn't able to fully switch off. Now, to be fair to myself, the reason I couldn't switch off is I just started this venture being a solo musician, basically full-time. So, yeah, there was a few things to be rightfully stressed about and understandably stressed about, but I wasn't able to shut off. And the thing is, if you're going to work self-employed in any industry, let alone the music industry, you do need to sort of have some fucking time off, right? Because if you keep working, you'll break your brain explode, and no one needs that. So I realised that what we needed to do, stealing... sorry. Just read one of the messages while I got distracted. So I wasn't very good at I'll come back to the chat in a second. I just read it because I just put my things down. Oh dear. There we go. So I wasn't able to fully switch off. So Lily had a chat with me and basically was like, we need to properly sort this out, because if we're going to make this work, not just the job, but also, our marriage, that, if we're going to spend time together, we need to sort of maybe practice it a bit more and get, because it does need us to shut off. So that's why we got tickets to Bearded Theory. Now, we went as fully as punters. It's probably going to be my only paid festival this year, which is quite fun in a way. And I've realised, looking at my diary, I've got 18 festivals in total to do this year, which is like, Jesus Christ, I would have been happy with 10, but 18, fuck me. That's great, but it's also going to be fucking knackering. But I was able to sort of discipline myself beforehand to basically just enjoy the festival. And it was great. And that's what the main thing that I've been doing, what I'm meant to be working on, was that. Just enjoying time with a beautiful woman with a load of friends. And I did, which was great. And yeah, it's surprising how sometimes it takes a lot of effort to actually do nothing. But when you actually take the time to do nothing, it's fucking marvellous when you actually do it constructively. Because there is time to work hard, but there's also time to do fuck all and enjoy yourself. Otherwise, it all falls apart. So yeah, that's the main thing I've been working on. Catching up with the chat, just go and trick lick. That's great. This is a hybrid of Bob Ross, Take Heart, and Blue Peter. Sans sticky back plastic. There's always time. There's always time to add sticky back plastic. There is always time to add sticky back plastic. I could add it to this, but it probably wouldn't help me very much. Although I was very much tempted at one point with this Brompton to not sticky back plastic, but get a playing card and stick that over the rear wheel. Because as we all know, that's what makes a bicycle sound exactly like a dirt bike. Like, you know, that's exactly what motorbikes sound like. So, yeah, there is that. This brings me joy. Yes, it does. Stealing is good. She's very vocal about how much she takes everyone interacting as a support of her views. She does. Which is why, you know, if you're going to play that card, you need to fuck around with it. Because if she's decided to do that, you do have to sort of, well, as in you do, me, not you. I don't expect anyone else to do anything because I'm not like J.K. Rowling where I expect everyone to agree with me all the fucking time because I'm a psycho. But you know, and the fact that she is quite rightly, like you said, quite right that she. Let's try it again. Not quite rightly, because it's not rightly. Quite right what you said, that she is using. She's actually actively saying, if you support my material, you'll clearly agree with me. Even though 90% of people, that's not the fucking case at all. Especially as during Bearded Theory, funnily enough, I don't know if any of you guys caught this. Did any of you guys see any of the news of the general strike that was organised by a bunch of fucking fascist twats? Did you guys hear about this? Funny as fuck. And it's one of those moments where it's sort of like, again, sometimes people just keep on misreading the general public a lot about things and think, oh yeah, we get it, you know, and think, oh, everyone's ready to revolt. It's one of those things that everyone keeps on thinking, that we're really close to revolution. And I can't remember which historian said that there is no nation on this planet that is further from revolution than the United Kingdom. And it's not because it's the highest quality of life. It's because the average British person has a higher tolerance for bollocks than most countries. Which is why when violence does break out, it's either completely casual in a football-related kind of way, or it's absolutely insane. So, you know, we bottle it up as a nation. But yeah, there's meant to be a general strike going on during, not because of Bearded Theory, but at the same time as Bearded Theory. And I did end up having to bollock my younger brother, because my younger brother has fallen into TikTok, and because he is a vulnerable adult, he believes every fucking thing he sees on there. And so on our family chat, which is about, you know, nanas keeping up with everyone, which in itself is fucking hilarious because we've got loads of nanas on our family chat. So on that family chat, Richard was giving a reminder that there's a general strike, and it's like, are you fucking kidding me? So I did have to bollock him, because there's being kind, there's being tolerant, and there's sometimes you just have to hit a brick wall, because if they're still not listening to your stupidity, then I need to shock them into fucking realization. Because I pointed out that, you know, the pricks organising that fucking riot are the same sort of pricks that would be campaigning next to get rid of me. So it's like, if you want to keep your trans sibling, then I suggest you don't support the sort of people that have been actively campaigning for me to be eradicated. So fuck off. Anyway, but that wasn't the main thing. That's what made me aware of it, because I didn't hear anything about it. I thought it was one of those things, you know, it's one of those things that the Facebook echo chambers had created this desire for a fucking old fart revolution. And then what happened is beautifully underwhelming, where loads of sad old people basically outed themselves and their community as being bigoted pieces of shit, and were just hanging around in fucking town centres and by war memorials with Union flags pathetically fluttering in the wind as everyone went, what the fuck is that? And yeah, you're quite right. We couldn't possibly go on a strike or protest efficiently because then we'd be copying the French. We couldn't possibly do that. I completely agree with that. And I mean it kind of semi-jokingly. Because one of the things that people say, oh, the French know how to protest, you know, like, there's a real thing where France is effectively shut down several weeks of the year, every year, because there's always something under protest. My way of looking at it is this. France and Britain have pretty much got the same, like, human rights. You know, we've sort of... Hang on, I've made a mistake. That's the wrong one. Bear with me. We've got the same sort of rights as France. Some things better, some things worse. But on average, it's about the same. But we don't need to set fire to our country. So clearly, the protesting isn't as uniquely, you know, successful. It would be more satisfying to trash more stuff, I'm sure, but it's not actually yielding any dissimilar results. But also, you know, they have loads of protests, and they nearly elected a fucking neo-Nazi as their leader. Of course, we're currently building towards that, and we'll see what happens. But, you know, we haven't, at least they haven't got to the point of being the second runner-up for the Premiership yet. We shall see in 4 years' time. Anyway, where was I? Bearded Theory. Let me just check my script and see what I've been talking about. Going on. Yeah, so Bearded Theory was able to actually relax, despite the fact there was apparently a general strike going on. And it was just absolutely wonderful. I didn't see all the band. I kept on being asked by people, what's your highlight on the Sunday? I said, as people do. Perfectly legitimate question and a sensible thing to ask if you're breaking the ice with some random strangers. But what I found, for me, the highlight of the whole thing was just actually spending some time to enjoy myself, to relax, and seeing some friends, which, when you're comparing, as much, and I'm not bemoaning what I do at all, I fucking love what I do, otherwise I wouldn't be a fucking self-employed performer, but you do need some downtime, and and I thought I'd have a massive sense of FOMO because I wasn't playing at Bearded, and I didn't. I actually just was able to enjoy it, so it was absolutely smashing. No mad drug stories, by the way. I didn't do meths and discover I was diabetic. For those of you who didn't know, last time I went to a festival, I took speed and then realised I definitely need to get assessed for being ADHD. But that's the sort of adventure I go up to. So nothing like that this time. Just good times and good beverages and a good woman. So yeah, absolutely smashing. I know some people in the chat were at Cursus, Marvellous Cursus. Funnily enough, Cursus Festival, last year I was comparing, got the bug for doing comparing, and several people were asking me about Outsider Festival, which is, like, for those who don't know, the sister festival of Cursus, run by the same group of people called Fueled by Cider. They do, done it again, wrong fucking one. They do Insider, Outsider, Cursus, and I think there's other ones like B-Side of the Sea, I think is to do with them. It could just be a very similar pun, but I definitely know that Insider, Outsider, and Cursus are them. So I got messaged, well, actually not messaged, sorry, what I'm talking about. People come up to me and were asking about, when they weren't asking about why the band had split up, gossips, all of them, were asking me about, are you comparing at someone did ask me, are you comparing Cursus? And I said, well, I am good, but I'm not that good, because that's this weekend. So I would have to literally run from this stage all the way to the other side of the country to make sure that I was there in time to announce stage times. But so many people were asking, are you going to be at... I just realised, sorry everyone, I haven't actually got that in the centre of the thing. Should have said something. Dear me. Anyway. I was doing it on my lap. I do apologise. You got to remind me, if I'm doing it on my lap, I need to create another little sort of tier thing for which is really cheap, where you remind me to, like, get in the centre or something. It's a rival, a splinter group, if you will. I like that. Does anyone... Right, just before we go any further, this is to do with the stream itself rather than actually anything else. If I said Aziz Light, does anyone get that reference? Or with context. Aziz Light! Because if no one gets the reference, I'm not going to bother putting that as the perk. Not the perk, but, you know, the buy thing. I'll let you think about that. It's from a movie. I feel I should. Fifth Element. Yes, that's the one. So I think what I'll do for the next stream, I was doing it again, fuck's sake, that I'll create a little blue strawberry badge thing, like the have a drink in your hand, raise it up, that kind of thing, perk thing for the stream, where if I am not in the center of the fucking screen, I'll do the Aziz Light and I'll have to move in the middle just so I can remember. And that means great. If we did that and that works, that means we've got our first sort of stream only in joke. Ooh, we're getting there. The 20th anniversary of Kermode and Mayo's film review podcast. I will also. That's not the input for the spoke. That is where the valve for the inner tube goes. Oh, we've got a bot. Someone can get rid of the bot. That'd be great. Kill the bot. Kill the non-believer. Burn them. We didn't burn them. Sorry. What was I talking about? Oh, dear me. Right. I was talking about... I've done Bearded Theory. Talking about hanging out with people, which was nice. Oh, yeah. Outsider. Dear God. They're not local people. This is a local stream for local people. But, so Outsider, I had a couple of people asking me, oh, are you going to be comparing Outsider? And I know that I haven't been asked. Kev has never asked me for Outsider because he normally has his nibs from the imprints doing it. So he already has a compare. So I only stand in because Chris, who does, who you know often knows DJ Dapper Dan or the Great Big Town Crier, when he's unavailable for Insider or for Cursors, I take over. And he wants to keep doing as much as he can. And so if I can come in without sort of going, it's basically the idea is that so Chris can do it on his terms and not feel like he has to do every single one, otherwise I will steal the job. I've said to him, like, if you can't do it, I will cover, but I will take it as default that you're doing it. And if you can't do it one year, but you can do it the next, that's absolutely fine. Because, I can always find work and, and he's really good at it, and he's a festival staple, so I'm not going to fucking replace him. So with that in mind, I'm not worried about not doing Cursus or whatever, because that's why I sort of didn't do it this year, because not only was I wanted to get a bit of theory, but Chris can do it. And there's also Tabs does Insider, as much as I'd love to do Insider, but Tabitha is also one of my compare rivals. Thank you for the ban hammer. So I knew that I hadn't been booked at all. Ooh, 2 more. There we go. Nearly done. That I hadn't been booked for Outsider, but because of the way my brain still works, I immediately thought, well, they've asked, 2 people have asked me. Maybe I got it wrong. Maybe I forgot. Have I forgotten? Am I doing Outsider? What is Cider? What is a festival? am I meant to be doing this? So I gave Kev a message. I went, just checking. And I don't mean this in a fishing kind of way, fishing for to get in the festival or whatever. But you didn't ask me to do the show, did you? And he went, no. But are you free that weekend? It's like, cool. I might have just gotten a job out of it, which is great. I have decided that because I consider myself, with people, I hate the sort of like, I had a dear friend of mine when we were talking about a play that they were organising refer to themselves as a facilitator, and it nearly made me like just sick. It's like, I like using old terms when it comes to I refer to gigs as jobs. I really like running gigs or shows. That's fine, but yeah, some people like it's just I prefer the old-fashioned kind of thing, and that's what I do because I'm an old-fashioned weird queer old thesp that doesn't do much theatre. But it's what I like to do, and so I use old outdated. Yeah, that is strange enough, as you may have noticed, just wobbling about like a motherfucker. So as a job, it would have been great to do. So I might have gotten a job out of it, which is cool. Cheer for the hammer, nice. Yeah. So it's a pleasant surprise. I've actually nearly got this. Oh, there's one falling off. Oh, one's fallen off. Oh dear. So. So I've accidentally gotten myself a job at Alzheimer, potentially. Alzheimer? I've given myself Alzheimer's. That's when you... Outsiders. So that's when you drink so much cider, it rots your brain out of your head. Yeah, so there's that. Okay. Moving on from festivals, what else have I been working on? Well, I am very happy to say, some of you already know this because you would have gotten the update, the Kickstarter for Woodland Goth has reached its target with 12 days to spare. So the album is definitely going ahead, as terrifying as that is. I'm still getting loads of new ideas for it. I'm just bringing together the final parts of the bits and pieces. I was debating whether or not to have a piece of artwork on the front of the album or a photograph. So I'm still working that out. I need to have a chat with Sammy now that I have budgets and stuff. Oh my. So now that I know roughly what's going on, it's sort of like, okay, this terrifying thing I've been working on for ages is now a thing. The clock is ticking. So, working on the demos this week and next week with the idea that during June I will be recording with Mike as sort of like co-pilot with that, and then we're going to be sending off all of the stems unedited for our producer Lou, who has agreed to do it. So Lou is the one who did the Glutundabus album, did such a smashing job with the sounds. We did have some issues with them at first when we were doing the recording because it got recorded in a weird way, but it's it is. I really like what she did with the end sound. So basically, it's a case of, she's got a perfectly reasonable rate per day to do engineering and production. But the fact is that the way that it's worked out is that I've basically deliberately gone for a low budget kind of approach. I want to record it in my way back into the DIY thing, and eventually, if people like this record, and the next one comes along with a bit more oomph behind it, and I put a bigger total on it to get the whole thing recorded in a studio, smashing. But I'm doing baby steps. That's the whole thing of what I'm doing with this entire venture, is that I'm planning my steps out quite sort of meticulously is the wrong word. It's more a case of I'm just trying to make sure that I set myself like not conservatively achievable goals, but because recording a fucking album is a fucking big ask anyway, isn't it? It's not simple. But making sure that I don't overstretch myself. And also it gives me something to work towards as well in the future, because this is going to be my first record where I'm going to be sort of fully in charge. I mean, I'll be working with a lot of the people I worked with before, but it's sort of, this is my record. And so, I mean, I've always been a sort of a collaborative worker, the way that I write, the way that I do things, but this one is sort of like it's disciplining in a different way. I mean, I'm going to be doing writing with Mike because I write my best stuff with him. He has been an excellent co-writer for many years, so we're going to continue doing that. I think Ash is staying away from the project for a little bit because when we all agreed to sort of go our separate ways and that, because when Sweetchunks is coming to an end, it's sort of not going separate ways as in our friendship. We're still going to be hanging out, which is still one of the weird, funny things for me. But because the band's not doing stuff, we've sort of, all of us have decided, okay, we're drawing a line under that. We'll deal with it in everyone's dealing with it in their own way, and sort of getting some space and closure and moving on in slightly different ways. So, but Mike and I still love working together. And even if it's a case of Mike's now looking at potentially what he does next with his music, and so that could be some tasty heavy shit, and I'm love to work with him on that a bit. But obviously there's a case of if we're going separate way, well, if the band's going separate ways, you're going to want to sort of put your own mark on it and make sure that you're not just doing the same thing over and over again. Otherwise you might as well just get back together with the band. Not that that's my overall eventual evil plan, but so at the moment, just to let you guys know, I am just putting these roughly at the same sort of height, so that means that our little fellow is roughly in the middle. There's going to be a lot of adjusting, which quite frankly is depressingly sort of long-winded. I'm just going to spin it up here just so I can keep an eye on how you can see how wobbly that is. I just realized looking at the stream that it's quite therapeutic on one of the other channels. You can't quite see it on this one. I've got my reverse channel, which is basically the windows that you can see, but in reverse. So the view from me on this camera is the big one. The review from this camera is the small one. And for some reason, so the spinning wheels look quite hypnotic. Anyway, so I'm actually quite chuffed with that. That came together a lot better than I thought it would. I need to adjust the fuck out of it, and that is for another time, because that one needs my huge amount of concentration. So I'm going to put the wheel on. I mean, not the wheel. This is the wheel. The inner tube on and the tyre. While we do that, take a little break to catch up with the chat for a moment while we're doing that. So let's cut across. Boop. I've obviously transferred a subscription on Patreon to the band for the solo channel. Is it worth combining? It is entirely up to you, my friend. I mean, patrons, when they've been supporting as long as you have, will have access to the album and such like that. Anyway, it's off to do. It's up to you what you want to spend, because it's sort of like the more money that goes into it, the more musicians I can pay or new ideas I can put forward, because I've got a pianist that's interested in using that he's sort of like, and I want to make sure that everyone who is on that record is paid a decent rate, because I don't want to, as much as I've had lots of people say, oh, I'd love to be on the record and help like that, I want to make sure that everything I do it for you. No, everything I do it with a decent set of ethics, because I'm actually fucking fed up. One of the things that fucks me off about the British music industry is that I don't give a shit about Spotify not paying me. That's just corporate whores. They're all like that. They always have been. I'm not surprised by it. I don't like it, but I'm not surprised by it, and I'll work around to fuck with it. But what fucks me off is when bands any kind of band in particular, but also particularly ones that claim to be fucking right on and socialist or left wing or whatever, that don't pay supports, that act aloof with the crews and all this sort of bollocks and such. It irritates the shit out of me. To quote Grant Sharkey, it makes my shit itch. So I've decided that from day one, the people I work with get fairly paid. And by fairly paid, I quite often mean a similar cut to me. That's how I run the Awkward Strawberry events. In fact, actually, the artists get paid before me because they travel, so I make sure that everyone's costs are covered first. But I want to make sure that from music from a session, it's shared between us and everything. Yes, paying with exposure, that's exactly it. And I don't mean just flashing my cock and balls at people. Yes, I've been practicing with OBS. For those who don't know, that's the streaming service that does all this. And fiddling about with it under the tutelage of our moderator-in-chief, the hammer wielder, the wielder of hammer. Yes, so I started swapping around and such like that. But yes, it's sort of like trying to sort of set out how I mean to go on. Working with people and in a respectful way where actually we're all getting something out of it. The other thing I'm doing before we go on to what I've been doing rather than what I'm meant to be doing. So on Thursday, I'm meant to be going up to Brighton during the day to see Professor Elemental, because the two of us are working on a concept record for next year, which I'm very excited about. I mentioned a few bits and pieces, and we're keeping it relatively close to the chest. Well, I'm not sure if he's actually not told anyone, and I've only been telling you guys because I'm not very good at keeping secrets unless I'm told to, specifically. But we're doing originally, so the prof, where's a good point to start from? So the prof's just released, or is about to release some festival festival summer albums with some remixes, some fun little ideas. And originally what we were working on was going to be like 3 or 4 songs on that record, like going, like I said, the Wicker Man the musical, featuring Professor Elemental. And we've basically been just throwing ideas together, and it's been such a sort of creative thing that the songs just write themselves and the ideas come forward, and we've just been merrily fucking around, that we've decided that we're going to work on it for the next year, and then release it next summer and properly go for it, because it's going to be something that can be a really cool little show that we can take around as well. Because it is we've made Wicker Man the musical, and I'm Lord Summerisle, and I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah, that's exciting. So I'm going to do that on the train. So yes, that's pretty much, we're at the halfway point. So as well as me going back to putting the tire on this for part 2, we'll have a little quick recap of part 1. So part 1, I've been going to Bearded Theory. I've actually been learning how to relax properly. The Kickstarter came to an end. Well, no, sorry. The Kickstarter is still going. So if you want to still be involved in the Kickstarter, feel free. Every little penny is well received and will be actually spent properly. I'm not going to spend it all on sweets. I'm going to spend it on musicians, which is my version of sweets. I'm going to meet up with Professor Elemental on Thursday. Oh, beg your pardon. And we'll be writing bits and pieces. And also, I'm going to be demoing the new record from tomorrow. I'm just going to be putting the tracks together, working out the track list. I've got the demos as it was, because very, very thankfully, those of you on last week's stream remembered that I had a memory card that has all of my promo materials, all of the Sweetchunks stuff, all of the Aubrey Blakeledge stuff, which I need to have data recovered. Luckily, for some reason, I put the demos on the main hard drive. So I still have the demos for the album. Thank fuck. Otherwise, I'd have been so angry. And yeah, there would have been a hilarious TikTok for that, I can tell you. But so I'm going to be working on those, putting them together. There's a couple of people I want to speak to about some other little tasty treats on the album, because it's going to be my album, so it's going to be weird as fuck. And I've actually been told, given explicit instructions by Grant Sharkey that if it's not weird enough, I should scrap it and do it again and make it weirder. So it's going to be weird, and I'm very, very excited to be playing around. Oh, sorry, everyone. Doing the album my first proper album that is me. Gonna be weird, but anyway, right. So what was I meant to be working on? And I've done that. And what am I actually working on? Well, what's the phrase? What have I been working on? Well, at Bearded Theory, because as you know, I've become addicted to sewing. So, totally addicted to sewing. Wow. So, I've been taking my little sewing kit everywhere I go, and creating all kinds of fun bits and pieces. So, my jacket, I've been going around at festivals collecting more tracks to sing. I've got to sing. Oh, so redeemed the sing mode. Okay, so I don't know how long I have to do this for. I'm gonna think. Does it have to rhyme? That's poetry, not singing. So when I went to Bearded Theory, I ended up making some weird shit, including some hats and other stuff, and having some fun with it. So I got to my battle jacket and stuck on some patches to match it, and stabbed myself with needles so many things, and fell asleep with weevils because there was lots of beetles and things, and made myself a nice new hat. So as I was making a hat, you might have seen this on social media. I haven't posted it up yet, but I've made this. For those of you who are listening, I have a Make Britain Woke Again cat. So, I'm meant to be singing this someday. So, the Marvellous Wokerati Party. Some of you might be aware of a band called T-Bitch. I'm not going to bother rhyming, because it's either rhyming or singing. It's two very difficult things. Actually, can I change it from singing to sort of rhyming poetry? Because I can do that, and that often comes up with weird things. Or would you specifically like singing? So it's either singing without rhyming or rhyming without singing. Have a moment to think and let me know which ones you want to do. Yep. So that's poetry. Okay. So as I was hanging out with some friends, I saw some merch which was Make Britain Again, and went to see the Wokerati Party, and usually I think their stuff is quite arty-farty in a good way. So if you all remember T-Bitch and Steve and the others made music of which was quite offensive, and I didn't really like it, but at the stage show, quite frankly, there was nothing like it. Who cares? So they've changed themselves to a new band and travelling all over the land, and renamed themselves Wokerati Party, and made some music and art that's arty-farty. The stage show was something to behold, and quite frankly, I could watch it again and again because it never gets old. So I bought myself a hat, and I thought, well, what about that? And started going around the festival having chats. Now, the problem I had with this hat is it brought lots of stares and looking, and that. And people got angry, and they quite often stared at me because they thought I'd actually was one of those MAGA twats. So even though at this part here it says woke, on the original version I thought I'd make it bespoke. So I got a patch from the merch table, started going at with thread and needle, and created my own version for my head. I was worried that if I didn't change it, I'd end up dead, because quite frankly, a lot of people were going quite red in the face, because I think they've seen a lot of wankers all over the place. But one of the things that was quite nice and reassuring, that, well, the festival was never boring, the fact of this strange hat showed that we're no twats, because no one wants to make Britain everyone seemed to want to make Britain woke again. God, I've made this difficult for myself, haven't I? I suppose I shouldn't complain or cry, but that's what it is when you do streaming, when you should really be thinking about and scheming and such. So if you have a drink in your hand, raise it up, whether it be mug or glass or cup, because then we can all get excited, and I can try and get knighted as I swear at this thing. Oh, forgot the words just then. Okay, my ladies and dudes, let's try and fix this inner tube, and hopefully so I don't swear at everything. But rhyming is difficult, but at least it's not singing. And I fucked up the couplet again. Right. So let's start right there, and we'll let out the air before we put the wheel back on. But I need to make sure that it's going the right way around, because I've done that and every time I've done that it's gone wrong. So, oh you fuck. God, I have to look at the time. Another 5 minutes of this. God, you guys are really taking the piss. I need to get the bike out so I can see, get this worked right out and see which way round the bike's meant to go. Because there's obviously the tread either forward or backwards. I'm not quite sure which way it goes. I'm gonna get rid of that fucking fucking perk, because it's making me feel like a jerk by the fact that I can't get this right. Ugh. Hang on a minute. Let's see if I fucked it. Talk about freestyling. It's quite easy to start rhyming. I see people try to do this live on stage. I think it's quite... I think it'd be a letdown if I added a cooldown, because this is quite funny, and I'll admit, despite the fact I'm struggling, actually it is quite annoying, but I think we'll agree it's funny as shit. Right, so it's... Have I got the right way round? I don't know if it's making a weird sound, but I hope it's the right one. You can see... Yes. Fiddle-dee-dum or fiddle-dee-dee, who will sit here watching me? Think how you like and try fixing a bike. Or trying to maintain a rhyming scheme. This may be difficult, maybe a slight. It's definitely a big ball ache. But I've got to keep going and got to keep trying. A name for myself I'm going to make. Oh, bollocks. What the fuck rhymes with bollocks? Swallocks? But that's a rhyming slang. Isn't it really sad that we get a lot of language from this land? From old Cockney criminal gangs. Oh, can I stop now? Okay, let's make this go away. If I keep looking at this clock, it goes slower. But never you mind, I think you will find This is better than have your bollocks cleaned with a leaf blower. What? It's not been since school that I felt this much of a fool. I'm hoping to God that I have all the tools. Right, no cursing. Okay. I'm actually surprisingly good at not swearing. What do I have to do if I do swear? That's the thing. I'm not allowed to swear. There should be probably a punishment for me swearing if I do. By accident, of course. People think that I was about to say, people think I'm not very good at not swearing, and I'm famously on stage I'm not, but normally when it comes to this sort of environment, like a radio environment, for some reason I'm much better at it. I think what I'm going to do is that if people redeem things, I'll only do one at a time for now, because otherwise it's just going to get silly. But then again, silly is actually kind of what we're going for, isn't it? So I can't be too sensible or make it too easy for myself, because where's the fun in that? I'll get this on here. I'll get this on here, then we'll carry on with what other things I've been working on. So because this is one of those irritating jobs that is just going to have me swearing for a bit. So I might have to sort of... Oh, I see. Put no swearing on at the difficult part of the job. I just realised what your horrible, delightful plan was. You absolute bum. You smelly bum. So what was I going to say? I had something in my head that I was going to just mention. Oh, that was it. So, apologies, chums. I've only just put the last 2 episodes on of this very podcast / thing, whatever it is, onto YouTube this evening. I'm going to put tonight's one on there this evening as well, just so it's just done, because I neglected it far too much. As punishment for myself, I will get it done. So what I'm going to do for you patrons, I'm going to put an update on Patreon that is a link to all 3, rather than me just sort of saying, like doing rapid posting and such. Obviously I have to put up the, hey, I've completed Kickstarter, you absolute bumders. Does that count as swearing? I don't think it does. I think I definitely need to get better tire irons, because these suck. Oh, well, that went on suspiciously easy. Something isn't right. I've probably known my luck, put the tire on backwards. I was not expecting it to be done so quickly. Okay. Well, I'm not going to complain. There we go. I suppose I could pump it up. Will that make it easier for the balancing the tyre? Probably. I mean, I'm going to be there for a month sorting out. I'm not going to do that on the stream, because I think me sitting here and adjusting these on here for ages would be dull. So incredibly dull, and I'll have to concentrate a lot, so it wouldn't be entertaining in the slightest. But oh, here we are. I actually managed to do the thing. How good is that? Love that. Well, I actually got more done than I thought I would. If I'm honest, I thought I'd be more sweary. Anyway, put that down for the moment. Put the tyres away. So I don't forget where they are, because otherwise I'll just keep leaving them out in places. I've been trying to get better at tidying up after myself, because so I don't know, chat, did I mention the Audacity before? Have I told you about the Audacity? Because if not, I'll go through it, because it's actually quite good fun. But yeah, I've been trying to sort of tidy up after myself a lot better, and sort of not leave messes around. Not because you know, in that typical male thing, I don't leave them around for Lily to pick them up. I just leave them around with the assumption that someone will pick them up. So I'm not sort of going, Lily, you do it, but someone will do it, and that someone ends up having to be Lily, or it just sits there for ages, which is dumb. So I'm trying to sort of be better than that, and be better, not do that sort of dumping stuff around thing. So I've been trying to be better at it, and tidying up, which is why when I go around doing stuff now, I try and stuffing. Test poll. All right, testing something just so you know, so people redeem things as their. Oh, okay, cool. There's a test poll going on. Enjoy the test poll. Yes. What was I doing? Right, just gonna have a cup of tea. Just check my script in case there's something else I've missed. So the British Royal Book Club this week is I'm still working on some various other books and catching up and such, but I'm really looking forward to listening to Mel Brooks's memoirs on audiobook. I've got them reserved on Spotify for me to have a listen to. Really excited, because apparently the book's an absolute riot, and him reading it is even funnier. So I'm looking forward to doing that. But Mike is more what? What is going on? I'm very confused. Yeah. Well, I'm pleasantly surprised that actually I got through everything. Yeah, so what else has been going on? My brain's just gone completely too. I think trying to do the rapping was what melted my brain a little bit, actually. I say rapping, it wasn't rapping, it was bad beat poetry. Yes, so I think I've covered everything. Yeah, like I said, it's not been a massively busy week. Next week's going to be interesting, and we're going to see what mad stuff can come out of the album being done and everything. So keep an eye on your social medias, and because new stuff is going to come out and such. It'll be all over the place. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the various things that I'm on. Or joining the Patreon, even as a free member, just so I think it's become the best way of keeping on top of things, because I also use email addresses and such from the Patreons to send out the monthly newsletter, which has gig dates and all such things there. So it's just, I'm trying to be more concise with the advertising rather than being all over the place. So yes, smashing. Right, I think we've come towards the end of the show, so let's do our rundown and then farewells and such. So What have I been working on? Well, I've been doing my Kickstarter has reached its title. Went to bid Ethereum relaxed. I'm going to be seeing Professor Elemental. I'm doing this terrifying record that I now have to do because people have put money into it. What I've been doing alongside that has been that bike, which I'm still quite amazed that I managed to get the tyre on so fast. It does happen randomly. And also been Make Britain Woke Again hats because why not? So yeah, that's what I've been working on, which is smashing. I've had a smashing time doing it. So, the housekeeping. The Kickstarter is still available if you want to join in and throw some money towards it and get your t-shirts, your vinyl, your records, all those sort of things. Just go to kickstarter.com and search for either Aubrey Blakeledge or Woodland Gothic and you'll be able to find it. If you subscribe or follow on Bands in Town, it gives you updates of where my gigs are. But you can also just go to aubreyblakeledge.com to find all that information because everything is put up there and it automatically syncs with all of those listing sites and such. So they'll be ready for you to check out at your leisure. Of course, if you follow on Patreon, you get updates from me whenever I update and put stuff in there. It's another sort of place that's quite concise and tells you where everything is. The Awkward Strawberry Cabaret is the first Thursday of each month. Tickets for that are at ticketsource.co.uk/awkward strawberry. Go through aubreyblakeledge.com and you'll be able to find links to that quite easily. So every Tuesday at 9 p.m, like you people have been listening live, has been the Fizzy brain stream. I've also got, so that's on Twitch, so please give me a follow at twitch.com/Aubrey Blakeledge. I'm on Blue Sky as Aubrey Blakeledge. I'm on TikTok as Aubrey Blakeledge. I'm on Facebook as Aubrey Blakeledge Comedy for some reason. Instagram, I'm Aubrey.Blakeledge. Bandcamp, I'm on aubreyblakeledge.com, bandcamp.com/merch. Spotify, I'm still using the Sweetchunks band stuff in there. And also, if you go to Bandcamp, you can buy Sweetchunks stuff there as well. And there are still some t-shirts and such for sale. I need to work out whether or not I'm buying a low more stock for that. I do need to buy some more stock for the Woodland Gothic because the first run is nearly sold out. There are nearly 50 of these things already in the ether, which is pretty spectacular, really, for a new design. YouTube again for Aubrey Blakeledge, you can find my stuff, and of course aubreyblakeledge.com has all my bits and pieces. You follow me on Patreon for just £3 a month and you get early access to music, including demos of the new album, various other things, early merch as it comes out. And if you've been following for a certain amount of time, I basically give you, when I create a new piece of merch, I send it out to you as part of being a Patreon. The back catalogue of all my music is available on there as downloaded audio versions and much, much more. All that kind of tastiness. So, yes, thank you very much, you glorious people. It's time for me to say farewell, adieu, and to basically play the credit music and try again, one more time, to try and read out all of the patrons as they appear on screen, and failing miserably, because that's what I do. My name is Aubrey Blakeledge. Thank you very much for joining me this evening for this magnificent stream. At the end of the stream, I will be talking to the mad people in the chat for a little bit, in case there's anything I've missed, or just talking random rubbish, because that's what we do. Yes, so if you're on YouTube, give me a follow, subscribe and all that. Do the subscribey stuff. Apparently it's useful. And every time I say it, I feel like I die a little inside. So, if you have a drink in your hand, I have my tea still going. If you have a drink in your hand, raise it up and put it in your face. And now please be upstanding for my glorious, wonderful patrons. Goodbye. So, the glorious patrons, we have Michael Wiles, Kaylee Woodland, Puzzle Cheater, Edward Hamster, Kingsville, Alan Freaker twice, Toby Rogers, Smoke and Hyde, Jules Maloon, Addy, Edward Butler twice, Karen, I can't read that, Wesley's gone twice, oh, bugger, Ruth J, oh, that's gone wrong, Danny, Harrison MBC, MBE, Dave, oh God, I can't read, and a big thank you to all of the Patreon free members and the people on the mailing list. Thank you.